Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Talking About Rock, sponsored by School of Rock, North Buffalo, where they are making tomorrow's musicians today. Also, our shows are available on all the streaming platforms, wherever you get your podcasts. And check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel to help us keep the torch alive. Today, we have for you a band based out of LA. For 15 years, they've been touring internationally and releasing new material. This past summer, they opened for LA Guns at the Cannon Club, and we'll be playing the famous Whiskey A Go-Go on January 20th in LA. We will be speaking with lead vocalist and bassist Troy Spiropoulus from Slow Burning Car about their latest release, Projection, next on Talking About Rock. All right, let's welcome to the show Troy Spiropoulus from Slow Burning Car. Hey, Troy, how's it going today?
Good. How are you?
Great, man. Doing excellent. So we're just talking to the folks a little bit before you came on here, a little bit about the bands and stuff. And what I've been reading, you guys have been around for like 15 years. You must have seen a lot of changes in the LA scene out there with music, right?
Oh, all kinds. Yeah.
So can you tell us how it's changed and some of the things that have gone on out there a little bit?
Let's see. We went from glam rock metal preceding the band to the grunge fad. Then we went to the new metal, to the rap rock. Then we went to what I call fashion rock.
Right.
And then we're now pretty much at a lost stage where we're basically competing against DJs and cover bands. And the DJs and the cover bands are actually winning out in that order, first and second place.
Yeah,
very tough for live bands, especially for original live bands. Nobody wants to take the risk anymore.
Yeah, it's very hard to do original music at this point, for sure. It's not as open a thing as it was maybe back like in the 70s or 80s when all different bands were coming out, right? All different types.
No, there's
things.
no clientele. I mean, these people are paying, just insane amounts of rent in the areas that they're at. So they need to guarantee that there's enough income coming into their club. Not only to pay for their staff and for their product, but also to pay the bands that are coming in. So they're finding it's just you're better off taking the risk on a cover band, and a particular cover band, that's appealing to a wide variety of demographics, or just saving yourself 75% of the cost and just getting a DJ out there to spin records.
Right. And you guys did have a really nice show this past summer, right? You opened for LA Guns at the Canyon Club, right?
Yeah, we did. And ironically, that booker for the Canyon Club left the venue because they were tightening the budget so hard on him that they weren't allowing him to bring in any original or legacy acts anymore. They were going down the cover band rabbit hole. So wow. It's getting harder and harder for bands to play out here. That's why we're tending to branch out and play outside of Los Angeles, outside of state, to be honest with you.
Right. Check it out, all different areas. And all your albums have been self-released from what I'm reading, right? You guys release self-released stuff yourself.
Absolutely. It takes a lot longer, usually between 12 to 15 months to complete an album, but much happier with the final result, not indebted to anybody, and free to take the product wherever we want, whenever we want. Obviously, it's not something that sustains a living. We all work and have our careers aside from it, but it allows you to enjoy yourself that much more.
Yes,
if you're fortunate enough to be able to do it that way.
Right. Have you been doing it in like home studios, that type of thing, or you been?
No. We've done the last two albums at Total Access Studios in Redondo Beach, California. Worked with Win Davis and my good friend Steve Ornest, who's his stepson. That studio has been around for about 40 years. Very famous for working with Great White, Guns N' Roses, no doubt. Heaven and Hell, the Black Sabbath offshoot.
Right.
They did a lot of the 80s metal bands in there. Dawkins was one of their regular clients. They also were very famous for doing the South Bay punk scene of the early 80s. Black Flag, Descendants, Pennywise, those type of bands. So very established studio, great people. I've known them for a long time. That's where we did the last albums. And then the albums before that were done with a friend of mine. The first three with a guy named Burt Malkwood, a fantastic engineer here out of the Hollywood area. He used to work out of Nightingale Studios in the North Hollywood area. And the current album I'm actually doing is with our current guitarist Aaron Custer. He's a producer and an engineer himself, as well as a guitar instructor. And we just decided, I figured since he was in the band, let's record with him, since he's going to have to learn and perform the songs anyways. I figured it just made more sense.
Right.
Plus, I'd
exactly.
like to keep the money going towards ourselves, if that makes any sense.
Right, exactly. Put it back into the guys that are working on the project. And you also did some music for a movie documentary, Crash Artist, way back.
Yeah, that was
right?
was a long time ago. That was an independent film that came out, and it was basically about a gentleman. Gosh, it's been so long, I forgot the name of the gentleman, but he was notorious for just crashing big events.
Right. Yeah, I was reading up on that. Yeah.
He was actually in the news about 15 years ago. He crashed a White House. Actually, I think it was in before the 2000s. I think he crashed an event at the White House, hosted by the Clintons, and he got in and nobody knew who he was, and he went around and he just played it off. He would crash the Grammy Awards. He'd go to the American Music Awards.
Wow.
He was at the Oscars. This guy would just take on an identity and just see how far it would take him. And he met a lot of people in different industries, and he just basically crashed events and galas.
Yeah, it looks spectacular. I have to check that out. It looks really, really neat. He must have made up some invitations and stuff. I'm imagining that's what he did. But when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's different. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So we got to do some of the music for that, and yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, we're actually here for you today to talk with us about your new album, Projection. Right? That's out. And why don't you tell us?
Out.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Yeah.
Great album, released 2021. Currently recording something new. We've got about 6 songs, shooting for about 10 for another release next year. But Projections, it's a great album. It runs the gamut from metal to punk to indie / garage rock. Slow, fast ballads. We have a song written and recorded in the Greek language. We have a nice sci-fi instrumental at the tail end of the album. Just a lot of turns and twists. I wrote about 11 of the 12 songs. The 12th song, Diamond in the Rough, was written by our co-vocalist Krista Ray, who's been in the band for a while. And it's just a great album. If you could pick it up on iTunes, you can hear it on Spotify. You can check out a lot of the material on SoundCloud. We're also on Facebook and Instagram, or you can just go to slowburningcar.com. You can stream the albums once. If you like what you hear, you can purchase track by track or the complete album. We also have physical CDs, but it was a joy to record, and we did that one at Total Access. Again, it took about 12 to 15 months, and out of the 5 albums, probably leaning towards being my favorite at this point, although the second one was pretty special too. But as far as track per track, artwork as well, I just think it's a really, really, really good piece of work from us.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, like you were saying, so many different facets in here, so many different styles and things. But I'm going to take a quick pause, and we want to play the video actually for Public Cynic. Did you want to tell us a little bit about that track maybe, and then we'll check it out?
Just basically written in at the beginning of 2020, the last song that we actually recorded for the album. And I mean, pretty much biographical about all the stuff that was going on at the time and the divisions it created, and which haven't really gone away. I mean, it seems like they're prepping up to almost have to, it'd almost be fitting to re-release the song now. Right. If anything, I never thought I'd say that, but just to take on current events at that time.
Cool. Yeah, so we'll take a quick pause here. We'll check out the video for Public Cynic, and we'll be right back here with Troy on Talking About Rock.
My fellow citizens, we are seeing the most draconian measures enforced at all levels of government that we've ever seen in our lifetime. Yet rather than being alarmed by these things, so many of you applaud.
some deep mistrust. Speak with caution for the things you say. They will be weaponized some way, then later demonized and shamed. Public cynic, oh so wise, always sees where we are blind. Public cynic, all denied, claims what's said must be a lie. Public cynic won't retract, won't rescind, won't walk it back. Public cynic, far too wise, always reads between the lines.
You're being told by the local government to report your neighbors who don't obey the line. It's told people daily for not obeying government edicts. You lecture about how bringing society don't care.
Scream you catch it, and then you go to scream. They scream at daddy, television sells it. Public cynic, oh so wise, always sees where we are blind. Public cynic, all denied, claims what's said must be a lie. Public cynic won't retract, won't rescind, won't walk it back. Public cynic, far too wise, always reads between the lines. Public cynic, oh so wise, always sees where we are blind. Public cynic, all denied, claims what's said must be a lie. Public cynic won't retract, won't rescind, won't walk it back. Public cynic, far too wise, always reads between the lines. Always reads between the lines.
At what point will you start questioning what's going on? At what point will you awake from your slumber?
Okay, we're back here on Talking About Rock with Troy from Slow Burning Car. We just checked out the video for Public Cynic. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool. So you said you're doing all the recording in the studio, and you're doing the majority of the writing for all this at this point.
Oh yeah, it's my baby. It's my brainchild. On the field, my position is bass and vocals, lead vocals. As far as the recordings go, I demo all the songs, drum machine, and do all the instruments myself. Then I get my my drummer on board to record his drum tracks. I pretty much do all rhythm guitars, keys, vocals, bass, anything that I could possibly do, I do on the recording. Then I bring in the stunt players, as I like to call them, to do lead guitar on most of the stuff. But yeah, I mean, the projects have all been my baby. The probably the most collaborative one has been Projection, because my guitar players, Tommy and Aaron, have contributed a lot of the guitar playing on the songs. My current drummer, Zach, performed the drum tracks on it as well. And Krista, aside from writing one of the songs, she's got her background vocals all over it. So it's really a collaborative effort. And this we're taking the same approach for this new album that we're doing, where everyone's involved and, doing their part.
So is that kind of the same approach you've been using on the previous albums that you had? Was it Blowback, Assumption, Deflection, and you had Volume 2, The Scattering in 2009. Is that pretty much the same you've been using?
Absolutely. That's one of the joys of recording in your own budget. You go by the time you want, and you get to do whatever you want with it, and you really don't answer to anybody. You try to include whoever's interested in being on board, and if they're not, then you get to complete it yourself.
Right. Yeah, I've talked to a few different artists, and they kind of say the same thing. If they come up with the tracks, they do all the vocals and all the lyrics, and maybe they'll put a band together around it, something like that, if they want to do some shows like that. But they come up with the product or the album, whatever you want to call it, right, and put that all together. And then, like you said, they have control of it.
that's exactly how this whole thing started. I mean, I was in other bands, and I'd always try to like bring a song or two in, and sometimes the bands would take a song, a completed song in, and bring it in and perform it, and other times they wouldn't. And it finally just got to a point where I said, you know what, I'm just going to save up my money and just start. I've got this shoebox full of demos that I had for 14 years going on. So around November 2005, I talked to my friend Bert, and I said, hey, I think I'm just going to do my own thing. I got my friend Mike Zimmerman, who was in a band with me called The Quick and the Dead at the time, to do the drums. I gave him all the demos. We rehearsed them. I got him to do the drums, and then I went in and knocked out everything I needed to on my own. And then I had Steve Ornest, actually, the guy who I've been recording with at Total Access Studios way back then, cut all the lead guitar work. And I didn't know there was going to be a band around it, but the album came out nice. Everyone who heard it liked it. And my friend Mike said, should we start doing some shows? And I said, sure. We put together a band around it. And the band's evolved since then with different players. But it basically got started around just recording something for myself.
Yeah, that definitely seems to be the way of things. So I know you have dates coming up in January. You guys are going to be playing the Whiskey in California. Anything else on the horizon, or any other projects going on for you?
Yeah, we're actually working with an agency out of Greece called Angels PR, and they have tentatively set us up with 3 shows in Greece, in Patra on Friday, March 31st, in Athens on April 1st, and in Thessaloniki on April 2nd. So we are working on that. Hopefully that will manifest fully, and we'll be able to do those shows. And then we'll come back and probably just focus on booking some stuff in the area for summer of 2023. Would like to look at some of the festivals going on out of state, New Mexico, Nevada, Arizona. We have a booking agent who's looking into those as well. And just see what kind of comes our way. We're lucky we're in a point where, we get to pick and choose what we want to do, where we want to play.
Right.
It's one of the benefits of just not having big money behind you, because that comes with a price. And like I said, we do it for love. We do it for an enjoyment. It's a hobby, and we can take it as far as we want, or we could keep it as close to the best as we want. So.
Right. And it seems like so many of the other countries are so much more open to newer music, newer bands, that are coming out, different areas. I know there's a lot of stuff going on in Switzerland. There's some new acts coming out in England, and they just seem to be more open to that than they are in the States.
There's no preconceived notions, and they'll take whatever entertainment comes to them. It's a shame they're so far from us.
That sounds great.
Especially being in Los Angeles, it's like double the trip as it would be if you're on the East Coast.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll get back to that, where we get to a point where the majority is a little more accepting to new music, new bands, things that are happening. I don't know. We always seem to be behind the curve here in the U.S. All the other countries kind of ahead of us with a lot of the different things, but hopefully we'll get to that point. Definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
So thank you so much. We appreciate you stopping in and chatting with us today about the new album Projection. Folks out there, check that out. Slow Burning Car. You guys got that gig coming up at the Whiskey in January. That's a great venue to play at. So many folks have played there. And then the tour coming up. You got a couple dates going on in Greece. That sounds amazing, man.
Robert, thank you so much for having us. You can check us out at slowburningcar.com. We're on Facebook, SoundCloud, Instagram. You can hear our music on iTunes, Spotify, CD Baby if you'd like to purchase. And that's about it. Thank you very much for having us.
Cool. Thanks, Troy. And if you folks out there want to know more about us, you have questions or comments, please feel free to email us at talkingaboutrock@gmail.com. You can like us and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And for this interview, the video will be on our YouTube channel, and you can check it out on all the streaming services coming very soon. Troy, again, thanks, man, for being here.
Robert, thank you for having us and for taking care of us and looking out for us.
All right, man. Have a good night.
You too.